And we'll begin with politics. The People's Democratic Party has officially confirmed Umar Damagum as its substantive national chairman. At its 102nd National Executive Committee meeting on Monday, the party resolved that Damagum, who has served as acting national chairman for over a year, be elevated to substantive chairman ahead of the national elective convention scheduled for November 15th and 16th in Ibadan, Oyo State. The PDP's national advisor, Kamaldeen Ajibade, administered the oath of office to him. Our correspondent Sumayya Abubakar, who is live at the venue, joins us now. Also joining us will be political analyst Jide Ojo. Let me start with you, Sumayya. Umar Damagum has now been confirmed as the substantive chairman. What more can you tell us about today's meeting? Sumayya, if you can hear me, I was asking about, the details from today's meeting. We understand that Umar Damagum has now been, confirmed as a substantive chairman. What more can you tell us from today's event?
Yes, indeed. Before, of course, the principal meeting, there was the first meeting that was had. That was where the first were announced to be involved in their presence to capture whatever concerns that they said they were going to address at the principal meeting. And then the principal meeting happened, the session, and it came out telling us that yes, Umar Damagum, who has been the acting PDP chairman, is now the substantive chairman ahead of the national meeting, the convention rather, that will be happening in November. Now, another thing that
we seem to be having issues with Sumayya's connectivity. So whilst we'll switch gears for now, but in due time we'll bring you more details when we have Jide Ojo, who's a political analyst. Away from politics, let's quickly switch to education. The Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board has directed all candidates who uploaded their O-level results before the release of the final 2025 WAEC results to re-upload them at accredited centers. The announcement was released in an official bulletin shared on the JAMB's official X handle on Monday. This directive follows the board's decision to clear all previously uploaded results from its system to prevent confusion during the admission process. Candidates with awaiting results are urged to update their final results promptly, as failure to comply may affect their admission eligibility. JAMB emphasized that even those whose results have not changed must re-upload to the official portal. Candidates are advised to visit accredited centers without delay to complete this requirement. We'll switch gears back to politics as Sumayya Abubakar is on standby, but also we have political analyst Jide Ojo who will join us now. We understand that Umar Damagum, who was acting national chairman, has now been confirmed and is taking the oath to be substantive chairman just ahead of the convention, the national convention, which will happen in November 15th and 16th in Oyo State, Ibadan. Sumayya is back with us. Sumayya is our correspondent who will cover the event, the entirety of today. Sumayya, Umar Damagum has now been confirmed, but you were telling us about details from today's meetings. What more can you tell us?
I mean, in terms of Damagum, the NEC said that he has shown so much strength and enthusiasm and even passion for heading the PDP party as the chairman. So, of course, there was a consensus voting and everyone agreed to this decision. Now, apart from that, also, there was a talk about the PDP zoning the presidency ticket, and the decision has been made that it will be zoned to the south. But then now the job is left for the South caucus to now go and then micro zone, in terms of the Southeast and then Southwest. So that was another decision that was made. And of course, there was an emphasis on the fact that in the 102 NEC meeting, a lot of things needed to be addressed, brought ahead of the NEC convention. So this is basically major things that was disclosed in the closed meeting. But then when the press were available, there was a lot of concerns. They pointed out the challenges that they met, and hopeful because there was so much conviction, I would say, in the next meeting. One of the members there, that would be Kingsley Chinda. That's the minority leader of the House of Representatives, pointed out that when they entered the meeting, there was so much tension. But after the speech of the national chairman, which is Umar Damagum, that they have had a bit of calm and assurance that the People's Democratic Party is going to come stronger for the 2027 election.
Stronger indeed. Mr. Ojo, I have to bring you in here. With the strategies that have now been discussed, one has to ask about the implications of Damagum's confirmation. Does it have any, should I say, implications on the PDP's internal power structure and zoning arrangements just ahead of November 15th and 16th, but most importantly, ahead of 2027?
Thank you. So for me, I think it shows that PDP is learning from All Progressive Congress that have in a very decisive manner changed its leadership without much ado. This is what PDP ought to have done 2 years ago. Rather than keeping Ambassador Iya Damagum in acting capacity when the NEC could have affirmed his nomination and get him to have the full executive powers. What this indicates for me is that the PDP has made up its mind that the next presidential candidate of PDP in 2027 will be from the South, because Iya Damagum is from Oyo State, and you cannot have him as the substantive chairman of PDP, and then you will have the presidential candidate of PDP also from the same geopolitical zones. But what it also says is that ahead of the November 15 and 16 convention in Ibadan, it seems like the position of Iya Damagum is already guaranteed. Perhaps the other positions in the NEC will be the one that will be up for grabs. And don't forget, one of the key things that was supposed to be discussed today was the zoning arrangement. So I have not had the full grasp of what they have arrived in terms of zoning, but what this has indicated for me is that PDP has made up its mind early enough that the presidential candidate in 2027 will come from the South, and that the position of Damagum will not be affected. Maybe there will just be a kind of affirmation in Ibadan on November 15 and 16, while the other positions may now be micro-zoned or zoned to other areas of the country.
Right. I mean, from your submission, there's so much that that one can ask. So starting with, what are the names we're looking at in terms of, a presidential figure coming from the South, and also, does the PDP have those names to stand side by side with the ADC as well as the APC? But most importantly, the structural shifts that would happen, that you expect will happen under Damagum's leadership. So what would they be? What would the immediate organizational reforms and structural shifts that you just spoke about would be in details?
For me, what I foresee, first, we need to know what is the reaction of the Wike camp. From Sumayya, we learned that there was tension ab initio when the meeting started this afternoon. But I do hope that Nyesom Wike will not play the fly in the ointment, because last week on Channels TV, he actually said he was not informed about the last NEC meeting where the convention was shifted from Kano to Ibadan. And there was a subtle threat that he may either go to court or hold a parallel convention. So we do know that Chinda who is the minority leader in the House of Reps, is of Nyesom Wike's caucus. So I do hope that Bukola Saraki, who is actually the national chairman of the Reconciliation Committee, will have met privately with Nyesom Wike, who happens to be his friend anyway, and get him to sheath his sword and allow peace to reign in PDP. Because if he goes to court, if Wike goes to court to forestall the holding of the convention in November, particularly in Oyo State, then there will be a problem. If a court of competent jurisdiction says that that convention should not hold, or if it decides to hold a splinter convention. Because what happened last week was that I had these grounds that the South-South Caucus meeting, where they changed their leadership, that the national leadership has said they will not recognize, that they must recognize that, because according to him, he held with full compliance of due process. But the national leadership, the NEC, the NWC, doesn't seem to be in tandem with him, because they felt he held that South-South meeting, elective meeting was held without the endorsement of the NWC. But that's on one part. Then you see his former brother-in-law, as he calls him, his in-law, Seyi Makinde of Oyo State, and now he is on Wike at loggerheads. You recall that last week when they met in Lagos, when the South-South Caucus met in Lagos, he is on Wike claimed that he was not invited, and many of his loyalists, including Chinda, held a press conference that a sizable number of them from the South were excluded from that meeting that was held in Lagos. So there is still a lot of rivers to cross. The Bukola Saraki Reconciliation Committee needs to meet with both Wike and Seyi Makinde, because Seyi Makinde seems to be in support of the Northern Caucus as well as the Southwest and Southeast Caucus. But the South-South Caucus seems to have thrown their weight behind Nyesom Wike, and the House divided against itself cannot stand. So these are my own worries, beyond and above talking about what permutations or who will get what at the convention in November. They need to first reconcile themselves and have a harmonious position that November meeting in Ibadan will go as scheduled, and there will be no threat of court injunction or any other threat to stall the holding of that meeting.
I have to ask, do you think that Damagum has it in him to sort of quell the different factions or tensions within the PDP? Because it seems like the biggest opposition, or should I say once biggest opposition in Nigeria, seem to be falling to what I've now coined the curse of the opposition in Nigeria.
I don't know where you got that from.
I'm sorry.
Of opposition. It's about ego. You see, it's ego, it's inordinate ambition, it's a potpourri of things. Obviously, Nyesom Wike is playing anti-party. He has not hidden his interest in working for President Bola Tinubu while he remains a member of the PDP. PDP has said he should go. He has refused to go. Initially, we thought the common enemy was Atiku Abubakar, and Atiku Abubakar has left PDP for them and has gone to team up with other like-minded people in ADC. But no sooner has Atiku left, that Seyi Makinde and Nyesom Wike started their own ruffle fight. And now, these are brothers who work together to defeat the ambition of Atiku Abubakar in the lead-up and during the 2023 presidential election. Now, the two of them are from South-South. They are from Southern region, rather. And it will seem like politics has put asunder their friendliness before now. So what needs to happen now is not just about, it's not a cause per se, it's about ego. It's about them swallowing their pride. and working for the sustenance and sustainability of their party. Because assuming without considering that the PDP even concede that the 2027 will not be ideal for them to contest to wrestle power from the APC, what about other governorship positions? As of today, they still have 10 governorship, they still have control of 10 states among the 36. They've lost 2. They've lost Delta and Akwa Ibom. And if care is not taken, if they don't find an amicable resolution, either before or during or after the next convention, after the convention that is supposed to hold in November, it will grant the party ahead of 2027. Don't forget, they still have the November election in Anambra. They have the off-cycle governorship election in Ekiti and Osun in 2026 before 2027. So the earlier they put their house together, the better. Even if they want to rebuild the party and 2027 may not work for them to win the presidency, they can at least have a unified force to act as a formidable opposition to checkmate the excesses of the APC, as well as make sure that they widen their victory among the states. There are so many traditional states of PDP that have been lost. They lost Edo after the 8 years of, after the exit of Godwin Obaseki. They have lost Delta, they have lost Akwa Ibom, and if care is not taken, they may lose Bayelsa. They may also lose some other states, but the best thing for them is to halt the defections, make sure they harmonize their position. Politics is about conflict management, manage the conflict in a creative manner, and work together to make PDP a formidable opposition.
Well, only time will tell as we look towards the off-cycle elections for Ekiti and Osun, and also even just before the elections, also other states will see them change their flag. A clear example was Akwa Ibom and Delta, and only time will tell whether Damagum has it in him to, really steer the party to success, if not for the presidential, for the sake of, state capture. I must say thank you, Sumayya, for all of the updates you brought us throughout the entire day, for giving us more updates there from the NEC meeting for the PDP in Abuja, and also to our guest, and that's Mr. Jide Ojo, who's a political analyst.